Hey everyone, this is Fergal Panda here. I thought I'd just do a real quick video in regards to moving to Denver. I've done one before, I talked a little bit about it to Denver, and this is just from my point of view, my experiences, and working in the healthcare industry and working outside the health industry. I work with many times a lot of transplants, a lot more transplants in the last few years from a variety of areas within the United States. From California to Texas, quite a few people moving here from Nebraska, South Dakota too. My recommendation is moving to Denver. Denver is a great city. There's so much to do. We got a nice little trail system within the city where you can walk around everywhere. We have a pretty strong public transportation system. The downtown is awesome. Before I go on, people will talk, well, the homeless population, yada, yada, yada. Dude, any city has a homeless population. It's not a big deal. Having a homeless population, it's just how it is. Cities have more money, they have more social funding. That's where most of the taxpayer money comes from for the majority of states, is from large cities. So people move here, whether they have jobs or they don't, or they're homeless or they're not, they'll move here. Just because we have a little bit more social funding to help with things such as tons of things to do. A lot of jobs, whether you're in healthcare, you name it, industry, we probably have it here. And also the incomes are very high here. Jobs, you can make quite a bit of money. We pay people to work in fast food here $15 an hour. So yeah, my son was making, my middle son, when he was 16, was working at KFC making around $15 an hour. And this was like $14 an hour back then. This was like, what, 4 or 5 years ago? So yeah. Now, with that being said, my recommendations if you're looking at moving to Denver is to make sure you research rental properties, like renting apartments, things like that. Do not go out and go and buy the most expensive thing because you really like it and it's really great and you're trying to move here from Nebraska. And I use this as an example because I work with people from not necessarily California. I don't see as many issues with the people I know that are coming out here from California that have sold their homes there and moved out here. I see this a lot of times for people from, like, say, Idaho, and basically the economies where the cost of living is a lot less and also the pay is a lot less. They get wowed and come here because they were making, say, 20 bucks an hour out there, and they come out here and they offer them $30 an hour. So like anybody, like, oh wow, that's a lot more money. So they're calculating how much they're gonna make. So they get out here and they get an apartment, and an apartment is $1,600 to $2,000 a month. It's just something to keep in mind here. So this person thought they were making good money. They went out here and got a really expensive apartment right away, and they're locked into a 1-year lease or whatever on it, and now 2/3 of their money, because your income is on, people base their income on what they make before taxes, not after those taxes are taken out. So I would recommend coming out here, finding an apartment in a decent area that you feel safe, make sure it's safe at an affordable price for you, and try and do a month-to-month lease when you come out here so you can start learning about Denver, because you don't want to get in a super expensive apartment and then go a few miles up the road and find one that was $400 or $500 less a month than the one you purchased, you rented, but now you're stuck in a 1-year lease. So I recommend that because it's the same thing. When I move to an area, it takes a while to figure out things. You start figuring out the different areas, the different neighborhoods, the areas you'd like to live. So that's something definitely I would look at, is that piece. Because if you can keep your rental costs down, I'm not talking about buying. Buying is a whole different animal. This is not a buyer's market in Denver. I just bought this house. I sold my old house let's go back. I sold 2 houses in a row in one day. One in 2014. Well, let's go back even further. 2008, I believe it was. 2011. I sold my first house. Same day, cash offer. Sold my second house within, my second house in 2014, I want to say, was in one day. Made an offer on a house. Both times I made an offer on another house the exact same day. Like, literally, we were making an offer, get a call, hey, your house sold. And this last house that I sold before I have this one, I sold it in one day. Cash from an investor, straight cash money. Now this house I have now, I bought for $423,000. It's now, I bought it in 22 years now, 2019. This house is now worth I bought it for 423,000. It's worth about 540,000. And I plan to rent this house. Right now, this house, which is a 3-bedroom, would rent for over $3,000 a month because its location, the neighborhood it's in, the schools are really strong, suburbs, HOA, all that stuff. With that being said, I'm planning on renting this house in about 5 years. So no telling how much it'd be worth and how much it'll rent for by then. Now, so in condos, they're expensive too out here, but it comes down to where you want to live. If you're willing to travel, do you need to look at schools for your kids, all that. There's a lot of factors with that, but I'm just going to talk about renting, because renting is what a lot of people are going to do when they come out here, first off, because you want to check out the area. You may not like it out here. But I can tell you this about Denver. If you're willing to work, you can have 1, you can have 2 jobs. You can have 3 jobs. I have 2 jobs. And I don't work all the time. I just have 2 jobs for variety, and also where I can have a better schedule for myself to enjoy other things in my life. So I can pick it up 1 week, take a week off, type of stuff like that. So, but don't come out here, and thinking, oh, I got to do this and do that. Because I think one of the traps, not just Denver, other areas, is keeping up with the Joneses. I live in the suburbs. My last house was in the suburbs. Your neighbor got a new Tesla. They got this, they got that. And sometimes you can get caught up in that. And you can be in apartments too, the same thing. You get caught up in trying to keep up with people that don't give a crap about you. Why? Would you rather have a Tesla and drive around town looking cool, or would you rather have a paid off Honda Civic where you have no debt on it, that money that person's spending on that other car, you're taking month-long vacation, 2-week vacations whenever you want to. You can take 5 days off of work whenever you want to. Me personally, and it took me a long time to realize that, that's what I've been doing the last, 6-7 years, is more about the enjoyment, more about the experience, not as much about the material things, type of stuff. And so with that being said, if you come out here, you're frugal, you have a decent job, you're not trying to have the baddest apartment so you can send up cool selfies home, but you're more interested in being money in your pocket and being able to enjoy what is Colorado and what is Denver and all the surrounding areas, and be able to take cool selfies and stuff of you out doing things, versus having to live at work to pay for things. Because I believe most people that want to come out here, you're looking to come out here because you're tired of wherever you're at. And it's the same thing for people leaving Colorado. You've been here a while, it's the same thing. You kind of tired of being here. You want a new adventure, but you don't want to go somewhere and get in there and have high apartment rent, things like that, and just out here surviving. Because I'm sure most people, you're not trying to move somewhere just to survive. You're trying to move somewhere to thrive. So as long as you keep your bills down, you get you a decent apartment. And when you go to neighborhoods, look around and see how you feel about it. Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel safe? Look at our own biases too, because there may not be nothing really wrong with the area. It might just be us. So it's something for us to think about too, as far as like what they call hoods and stuff like that. Denver doesn't have a real hood. It has working class neighborhoods. People try to tell me that when I moved here. I grew up in California. I grew up in Indiana. I can show you hoods. I can show you some in the Nap Town. I can show you some out where I live too, in Purdue, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, Philly, East St. Louis. That's historical poverty. We have working class areas, and with the demand for housing, those areas that they used to call hoods, you might see a yuppie running down the street in $100 running shoes with a $3,000 dog, jogging down the street type of thing. You might see a cool cafe and all this. It's not like that here, but learn your comfort level. With that being said, it's a great place to live. I personally love Boulder area. I think it's a beautiful city. Some people call it Liberalville, whatever. It's a gorgeous city, beautiful. I like Estes Park. Basically what I'm getting at is there's so many experiences, especially if you're coming from the Midwest. And I grew up in the Midwest too. This is a beautiful state. And the surrounding areas are cool. It's a hop, skip, and a jump to a lot of cool areas around in the surrounding states around us. So, I'm not telling you not to come out here. I'm just telling you to be mindful, do your research. Don't try and get the best of the best when you get out here. Your main thing you're trying to do is get out here and understand a little bit about the area, understand the different neighborhoods, understand where your job is. Also understand just because you got one job, that doesn't mean that's going to be the job you're at 2 years from now. You may get here and you get one job and you find out down, 10 miles down the road, there's another job that's a lot better and works better with what you're trying to do. So this is stuff for you to think about. But I tell you what, our summers are great. Our winters get really snowy, but it's sunny. A lot of times when we get a huge snow, it's like gone in like a couple days maybe, and it's sunny again. It might get in the 50s and 60s in the winter here. Or do like I do a lot of times. I'll set up a lot of vacations to take to warmer areas also in that time too, but it's not like the Midwest. Our winters are not like the Midwest, and you guys from the Midwest, you know what I'm talking about. It's not like dreary and cold and, dirty snow. It's been sitting there for the last month type of thing. No, it melts. You can still get out, still go out and go hiking, camping, whatever. All that good stuff is there for you. So I hope this helps someone who's thinking about coming to Denver, Colorado and the surrounding areas. Oh, and by the way, the area I live in is Aurora, Colorado, which is, I live in an HOA neighborhood near one of the latest outdoor malls in Colorado with top schools, things like that. If you're interested in there, you can look that up, Aurora, Colorado, Denver. So about 300,000 people live here now. Also diversity. Denver is a very diverse city. So everybody is here. Is it as diverse as other places? Maybe not, but there's plenty of people. You won't feel uncomfortable, whether you're an African-American person or you're an Asian American. We do have a fairly decent sized Asian American population. It's not on the level of, say, the Pacific Northwest, like Seattle, Portland, stuff like that. But there are communities out here. We also have populations from a variety of different parts of Africa, Europe, stuff like that. Where I live in Aurora is actually, I want to say, there's a representative for every country in the world is here, and we're one of the most diverse cities. And, if you're into diversity and trying different types of foods and just, being around different people, or you're coming from somewhere else where you're used to diversity, you shouldn't have an issue here with it. Also, we are highly educated. This is a highly educated city with, I don't remember what it is, 30 to 40% of people in Denver have a minimum of a bachelor's degree. But even if you don't have a minimum of a bachelor's, if you're willing to work, there are jobs out here. I hope this helps someone. And this is Frugal Panda. I hope everyone's having a good day, and I'll see you next time.